My name is Valeria COF, and I'm going to start this off with a fun fact. So on November 16th, 2017, the Keystone Pipeline leaked 210,000 gallons of oil into South Dakota soil, which contaminated grazing land and took months in an attempt to clean up the spill. Therefore, the Keystone Pipeline is harmful to the environment. For those of you who do not know, the Keystone Pipeline is a pipeline that transports crude oil, which is unrefined petroleum, from Alberta, Canada, and runs through the United States till it reaches Texas. And my first reason why I believe that this is harmful to the environment is because the technology itself is prone to accidents. Technically, pipelines are supposed to be the safest way to transport oil, but that only holds true if accidents don't occur. And in the last 20 years in the United States, about 8,000 oil spill incidents have been they have occurred in the U.S. that resulted in deaths and surrounding harm in the areas. Also, pipelines themselves are not built to withstand the elements for safe transport of oil. Tony Leonardo from the National Wildlife Federation calls them ticking time bombs because their aging is inevitable. A prime example of the faults in the Keystone Pipeline itself is the section at the end of the Keystone Pipeline in Texas. Already in the first week of its construction, it required 2/3 of repairs. So pipelines themselves are also poorly regulated by the government, making it almost impossible for them to not malfunction. My second point into why this is harmful to the environment is basing it off of the environmental harm it's already done in Canada, which shares the pipeline with the U.S. According to Environmental Canada, the single largest source of greenhouse gas emissions in Canada is because of its oil industry. Canada's National Energy Board states that over 30 federal regulated pipelines ruptured in a span of 10 years, resulting of corrosion and fatigue, which strengthens the point that that pipelines are just not built to last the elements that they're succumb to. And my last point is that when oil spills do occur in the environment, it's directly harmed because of the chemicals in the oil. So Time Magazine's article on the South Dakota oil spill tells us that oil coats and clings to every rock and grain of sand. When the oil spilled in South Dakota, it spilled underground, so the oil rose, and it affected grazing land, which grazing land is where cattle feed. And this land isn't very useful anymore because it's just permanently contaminated with oil. It can't grow grass, it can't feed the cows or the cattle. Also, toxic chemicals that are found in oil sands can be released when oil is exposed and can cause respiratory issues to humans and animals and also affect plant growth. When large amounts of these chemicals are exposed, low clouds form, creating toxic air, and in extreme cases can actually cause acid rain. Oil sands also sink into water, making cleanup processes very difficult and expensive. This relates to the Keystone Pipeline because there's a section in Oklahoma that's built next to an aquifer. An aquifer is an underground drinking system a drinking water system that provides water to a bunch of communities around. And if this oil were to spill and contaminate that water, it wouldn't serve its purpose. This is why the Keystone Pipeline is detrimental to the environment.